Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Lately, I've been featuring Stephen Cohen, Professor Stephen Cohen, and why? Because I think that what he said during his lectures or debates, not really debates, but lectures, and wherever he showed up in certain kind of media appearances and uh, television shows, whatever he said over there is like, I don't know, so helpful. Things that then were out in the open, now they're hidden, and it's hard for them to. It's hard for us to dig them out. And when we make a statement that about, let's say, 7 or 10 years ago was accurate and right there, if you make the same statement nowadays, they're gonna say, who said that? And when you try to prove it, you go, let's say, on YouTube, or you go on whatever you found it, and you can't find it anymore. It seems like the algorithms just destroy and bury all this information. I know I was trying to find certain videos to feature them here that I've been watching, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, 7 years ago, and I can't find them unless you know the exact title with the comma. With everything, you're not going to find it. It's like gone. You say, yes, Amy, because they promote the new stuff. Yeah, I got that. But still, if I put right now Bill Clinton something, they're going to give me Bill Clinton from 20 years ago, 15 years ago, or something like that. But if I put my man, my people, no, you don't find them. It happened too many times. So I have here a short video, about 15 seconds. 15. Pop, seconds. With Professor Cohen telling us about Syria. Telling us about something that then we all knew about it, or some of us knew, but it was out in the open. Now if you say it like, hey, the American troops are illegally deployed in Syria, sucking illegally the wealth, the oil of the Syrian people, of the legitimate government of the Syrian people, you're going to be like, look at you like, what are you talking about, Emil? Where did you pull all this information? Well, here is where I pulled it. And this you can use in when you speak with any kind of weasel in your debates or conversations. Hey, this is it. Listen to that. So I have here this video. I'm going to play, as I said, is about 15 seconds. Is from this little, how do you call this? Let me arrange these things here. From a lecture. He just media time, and he's gonna, I recommend listening to all this if you want to refresh certain positions about Putin and Russia. He was a professor of Russian studies for about 50 years, lived in Soviet Union, lived in Russia. He is used to be a very knowledgeable individual. I would not risk anything presenting him to anybody.
American role is we'd agreed with the Russians that if we were both flying over Syria, and remember, by the way, there's a nuance here, that the Russians are flying over Syria legally. They've been invited by the Syrian government. We are flying over Syria illegally because we have neither a UN mandate nor the invitation of the Syrian government. Now Iraq is invited, for God's sake, Iraq wants Russia flying and bombing because ISIS is deep in Iraq. And we're flying there too. So obviously they have agreed, they said they've agreed to exchange flight plans and coordinate flights.
So he's talking about Syria, and a lot of people say, well, we won in Syria. You won in Syria you or these guys here who actually use our military for their own interest, we won in Syria as we won because of the D-Day landing. Without the D-Day, we would have all won still. But the problem was what? The Soviets were coming, and probably they would not have stopped at Berlin. Therefore, we had to stop them. These guys, with their interest, not because they cared about the free people. I tell you why they didn't care about, I was looking at a different location. I tell you why they didn't care about the free people and the Soviets were coming. I tell you, because they gave the Soviets arms, and they didn't care if those guys, while they were fighting in Stalingrad when the front was broken by the Soviets. Before that, Stalin asked these guys, the free world, on 2 or 3 occasions to open a second front. These guys are going to destroy us, are by Moscow. It's like these guys were waiting for a second Napoleon entrance in Moscow. And then when those guys broke the front in Stalingrad, with the help, with the money and tractors from Ford Motors and others, GM and so on, and with the Lend-Lease, they broke the front. They fought like crazies, because the Japanese are not crazy, stupid anyway. And not that I root for them, but it was a tactical idiocracy. But it's a different story. They were supposed to open a second front in the Far East, the Japanese, just to pretend. Therefore, keep the Far East, Soviet Far East troops over there. But when the Japanese did not, and they oriented in the south, those guys changed and brought all the troops here, almost all the troops here, and the Eastern Front, or Western Front. I'm from East from these guys, West from the other side anyway, right? So that's how these guys, among others, broke the front. And when they broke the front, the Soviets, they were moving towards East. When the landing, the famous landing occurred, these guys were already, they already liberated the entire territory of the Soviet Union, and they were coming, and those guys were saying, oh, no, they're gonna take over, so we have to block them. The same thing was with Syria. The Americans told us, the Russians, so many times, don't do that. We support the democratic forces in Syria. To do what? To topple a democratically elected or whatever government in Syria? It was our prerogative to do that? We bring freedom and democracy everywhere, and now we're still there? They are still there, not us. We have to understand that these guys put between us so much, so we can fight. Oh, you're white, you're black, you're this, you're that, you're tall, you're short, you don't have balls, I have balls, I'm smart, you're stupid, and so on. All of these things. And they're over there laughing because they do their big thing with what? With us. We work for them. We fight for their wars, for their interests. So the same with Syria. They landed over there. The Syrians could not do anything about it. We were invited by the Kurds. So what? You were invited by the Kurds. It's like the African Americans, let's say, invite China, because we are discriminated here. Is China allowed to land here? We're gonna fuck the shit out of them, won't we? You immediately realize how idiotic this is when you turn the tables just like that. So he says here, yeah, we're still over there. Now go and tell this in your conversations with your friends, or at work, or wherever you go, and tell them, well, you know what, we're illegal over there. We break the law, the international law. We don't have a mandate. We're illegal. We are thugs. We tell the Russians that they invaded an independent and sovereign country. Yeah, okay. But how about us? We did it before them. Many times. So here is, my friends. Listen, history is there. These guys are just trying to hide it. They're trying to bury it. Like in 1984, George Orwell's dystopian novel. You control the present, you control the past, you control the future, whatever. Why? You hide these things. The new generation will never hear about certain heroes and certain events that could nullify and contradict the garbage these guys are pushing. They just try to erase it, and they give our children or our youth diplomas for nothing. They think they're educated. It's an illusion. It's an illusion. I have over there a beautiful book, the pink one, right there where my finger is. That's called Propaganda by Jacques Ellul, a French social scientist, psychologist, however you want to call him. Jacques Ellul. That's one of my favorite books. I underline in that book almost the whole fucking book. I ate that book. It's one of my most important books that I have. And what is he saying over there? The illusion in a society that's educated, it's much easier to propagandize than the imbeciles. That's what he said. And he explains why. He gives you the illusion, that's why you're going to fall for it. So you're going to read, let's say, the Wall Street Journal, and you think you're intellectual. You're propagandized by that. Well, it's a Wall Street Journal. It must be true. It's only me who... You see, I'm not... No offense to anybody. A bulldozer operator or a truck driver... honey, I'm going to read, it's Sunday, bring me the Wall Street Journal. I want to see, give me the stock market. I want to look, and they're not going to, only the intellectuals are the ones, and the ones that think they are, is the easiest prey, he says. And I agree with that. I met a lot of people like that. Well, they think they know why, because they have a diploma on the freaking wall. Oh, I'm an intellectual. No, you're not. Open your fucking mouth, and I tell you if you want. Yeah, I tell you. Yeah, my friend, so there's a lot of truth you can still find. Refresh your memory or learn and push it forward. And, remember, these things were normal to be said out loud. Nowadays, even say that there's two sexes is like, you're a suspect. Why? Erasing the past. I see youth. I see teenagers who don't know shit about anything. They come and tell you certain things. You're like, you can't be so dumb. You can't be this dumb. Not only dumb, uninformed, or not, badly informed. Badly. Why? Because the information they receive from the school, the government, they receive from the school is made in such a way that they miss the point. They get only one narrative. And they ask you, they challenge you on certain things, like they challenge you, oh, there's no such a thing here in the, I don't know, where we live, let's say, as night and day. Actually, it's no night and day. They challenge you like certain things that you like, 1 + 1 is not 2 anymore? No. You're so, I don't know, you're so, how do you call it, ethnocentric to think that way. No, some societies, they have like the Hopi Indians. The Hopi Indians, their time was not linear like us. We are actually the oppressors. Was circular. Okay, that's fucking dumb. I'm not saying it's their culture. Good for you, but it's dumb, because otherwise it come back. How many times your time came back? The Hopi Indians, the wisdom of the Hopi Indians. Fuck me, Freddy. When they tell you that, and they didn't tell me that, I read about it. I did it in college. I was like, are you crazy? I remember when I was in university here, I had a class, it was about world religions or something like this, civilizations, religions, blah, 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 blah. I had to take it because I'm not going to go into it. Anyway, so it was this nice professor, and he made us read a book, Nye Nye Kung. I still have it because they made us buy it. And when you buy it, you couldn't bring it back. Sometimes the book that you buy secondhand or something, you can sell them back for less money. That's how they make money. It's a racket. A book that should be worth $3, they sell it to you with $85. And when you go and resell it to the bookstore, you sell it with, I don't know, $25, and then the next day you find it for $80 again. It's a fucking ripoff. Anyway, so this garbage of book, Nye Nye Kung, was talking about these anthropologists or whatever they were, intellectuals with Western mind. They came over there and found a tribe that didn't know where to shit. That was the truth. You can find it. They were like primitive in, I don't know, not even Iron Age. Okay? And they were using how do you call it, hallucinatory substances to get in a trance. And then whatever happened. And these intellectuals were looking, Nye Nye Kung, the tribe, they're so deep, we can understand. And they were trying to ask these people that didn't know how to shit, what that's the meaning of that. They didn't know shit. And they were like respectful. And what are you talking about? Have you seen that movie, Lives of Brian, that comedy parody of whatever during Jesus Christ's time? My English friends or British friends, I'm pretty sure they know it. It was that guy. The guy was just mistaken as being Jesus Christ during real Jesus Christ in the area, and they thought it was him, a miracle, and he was running from the crowd. And he was, what the fuck? And while he was running, he just lost a sandal, and the crowd, he ran away because he said, I'm not Jesus, I'm not the Messiah, I'm not the Messiah. And these guys grabbed the sandal while he was running. Oh, he didn't have time to pick it. What is this? And started giving a meaning to a freaking lost sandal in the sand. The same with those guys with Nye Nye Kung, with Plato in their pocket, with Nietzsche, with Aristotle, with Socrates, with, I don't know, Immanuel Kant, with whom the fuck, with Schopenhauer, with all these monsters of philosophy and thought. They were talking about Nye Nye Kung. Wow, so deep. Why don't we can't understand it? What does it mean? It's a sandal, for God's sake. There's nothing in it. The same here. Anyway, I know where I started, but I know where I'm ending. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Don't let these guys fool you. And don't let them make fool out of you because they say, well, you don't understand. Yes, you understand. They are the ones who don't understand. And they think that something so idiotic or easy and simple, because they don't understand it, we don't understand it. No, my friends. I refuse. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.